Yo, y'all know there is no royal road to science, and only those who do not dread the fit steep climb of its steep paths have a chance of gaining its luminous summits. You heard? Check this out. Real dogs read capital every day. I will not be a pawn, my mind will not waste away. Volume 1, Volume 2, and even Volume 3. I don't just grasp production, but also banking. Volume 1 shows exploitation in industrial factories. He told the workers, get united if you want to get free. Surplus value is extracted at the point of production. The bourgeoisie is just a vacuum doing money suction. Your wage is the labor that they actually pay you for. The rest goes to bosses who never work on the floor. This extra value's called surplus, and it's all that they desire. They impoverish the workers as they stack their money higher. Capital is dead labor that acts like a vampire. It sucks labor from the living just to stack the money higher. We read capital to grasp this fact, volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's time to join my reading group and join the ACP. Volume 2 is circulation of the product made in Volume 1. It must be sold on the market for accumulation funds. If the product isn't sold, capital won't make its money back, and the whole entire system then begins to crack. Everything is a commodity made to be bought and sold. The commodities producers care only for their gold. After goods are produced, they need to circulate, but when they don't, the system crashes just like 2000. Capital is dead labor that acts like a vampire. This sucks labor from the living just to stack the money higher. We read capital and grasp this fact, volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's time to join my reading group and join the ACP. Volume 3 is the best of all. It explains the system now. The banking system always grows. It forces all to bow. The creditors, the rentiers, they suck up surplus, right? But they produce nothing of themselves. They're purely parasites. This sets the stage for Lenin's work on finance capital, when the monopolies, the banks and such dominate in full. The system is a crazy thing. The commodities rolling blind. The bills get to be so much we only think about our next dime. But a man named Karl Marx, he wrote this book, helps us grasp our life under this capitalist mode of production with so much pain and strife. Read it yourself to see what I mean and then get organized. We workers have nothing to lose by change. It's time to stand and fight.
He was sipping his soda, head in the clouds. When the phone lit up, it was ringing loud. A voice on the line, deep and slow, said, Nick, my boy, it's time to go. Pack up your thoughts, your slogans too. There's a new agenda waiting for you. He got the call, oh, he got the call from the man with the hat and the wall. He said jump, and Nick said how tall. Oh, he got the call, yeah, he got the call. The voice said, Nick, we got plans to unfold. You'll be a hero, so brave, so bold. So bold. Nick scratched his head, but the money was sweet. He traded his stance for a brand new beat. Change your tune, put on a show. You'll love the perks, just let it flow. He got the call, oh, he got the call from the man with the charts and the sprawl. He said run, and Nick said I'll crawl. Oh, he got the call, yeah, he got the call.
The clock strikes red, it's time to play. The neon hum will light the way. We share the sound, we share the fight. Together under the glowing night. No kings, no crowns, just
He was sipping his soda, head in the clouds. When the phone lit up, it was ringing loud. A voice on the line, deep and slow, said, Nick, my boy, it's time to go. Pack up your thoughts, your slogans too. There's a new agenda waiting for you. He got the call, oh, he got the call from the man with the hat and the wall. He said jump, and Nick said how tall.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Sorry I was muted there for a second. Hope you guys like the intro music today. He absolutely got the call. Greetings, comrades. ACP rave, LOL, let's go. ACP California went on a hike this Sunday based. That's awesome. I think I've hit just about every hiking trail in my area. I need some fresh trails. I used to live near Devil's Lake in Wisconsin, and that was a lot of fun. I would go bouldering there almost every single day after work for a while. So I'm jealous of you guys. These lyrics are hilarious. Thank you. I'm glad you like them, Ray. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. Beautiful. Thank you, North Star. This leads into what I wanted to talk about for the most part today. The Kirk discourse has really slowed down. I wonder why. Yeah, there was all this interesting discourse about Charlie Kirk. You know, it was a huge W today and yesterday for the people who have been saying that there's possible, Israeli involvement, possible deep state involvement, which is, anybody who's looking at this objectively, right? Anybody with an open mind who makes draws conclusions based off of evidence, right? Any genuine anti-establishment is going to be at least skeptical, if not completely distrustful, of mainstream establishment narratives, and we're going to look for evidence of alternative narratives. We're going to look for evidence that the mainstream institutions like the FBI and whoever else are lying to us. So anybody who's doing that, anybody who's looking at this objectively has been saying, well, there's definitely a chance that Charlie Kirk was beginning to turn on Israel, which means that the establishment saw him as a liability. So the incentive was definitely there. Now, what's interesting about this is so many fake anti-establishment figures, Nick Fuentes being the leader of this sort of group of internet figures, have dismissed this theory. Rather than basing their opinions off of evidence, they've just parroted whatever the FBI has said and repeatedly called for anti-Zionist figures, people who spend all day, every day fighting against Zionism, like Haz al-Din and Jackson Hinkle, to be thrown in jail, to be thrown in prison. So then recently, Candace Owens comes out with receipts. It turns out that Nick Fuentes was lying about Candace having no evidence, and Candace, in fact, had bombshell evidence. Right here, I'll bring up the tweet from our friend Haz himself. 1 second. This is what Candace shared. This is from a group chat that Charlie Kirk was in. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year, because we won't cancel Tucker Carlson, and I'm thinking of inviting Candace Owens to an event. So here we see that Zionist donors were pulling money away from TPUSA and away from Charlie Kirk simply because he wouldn't choose to parrot the Zionist narrative, the narrative of the Israeli government completely and totally. And this is one of the things that I want to point out, right? Nick Fuentes and all these goofballs who are, parroting the mainstream media, the FBI narrative on this issue, they're saying, well, Charlie Kirk supported Israel his whole life, right? Charlie Kirk always supported Israel. So they didn't have reason to kill him just because he was turning on them a little bit or criticizing them a little bit or calling out Netanyahu. But what you need to understand is that that's not the bar for Israel, right? The Israeli government doesn't say, well, so long as you support us in the abstract, that's fine. You can criticize us all you want. You can criticize our actions and our leadership and what we've done since October 7th all you want, as long as you support our right to exist. That's not what the Israeli government says. Anybody who doesn't parrot the Israeli government's narrative exactly to a T, anybody who questions them or criticizes them even a little bit gets smeared as an anti-Semite and as a Jew hater and as a hater of Israel. Right? Now, I'm someone who doesn't support Israel's right to exist. I support full Palestinian sovereignty, but I can recognize that Israel would still have incentive to take out Charlie Kirk if he was turning on them even a little bit, if he was going against their narrative even a little bit, because TPUSA was basically the youth wing of the Republican Party, and it was vital to Israel maintaining support in America, especially among the youth, which is the demographic that they're losing popularity with the most quickly. So, important thing to remember here, Israel doesn't turn on people. Israel doesn't only turn on people once they denounce them completely and support Palestinian sovereignty. No, Israel will turn on you if you criticize them at all, if you're skeptical of them at all. And this is exactly what Charlie Kirk is complaining about here in this text thread. And it's exactly what he was complaining about on Megyn Kelly's show a few weeks before he was killed. The fact that even though he's an Israel supporter, all he has to do is criticize them a little bit, and there's all this backlash from Zionists, and there's money being pulled from TPUSA, and all of this. Timothy Jackson, new member. Thank you for joining, Timothy. Welcome to our crew. Appreciate you. So, Charlie Kirk. This person says, ugh. I don't know who would have said ugh. Could have been Candace Owens. Could have been Adam Kovlet. Kind of Charlie's second in command at TPUSA. I don't know. That name is redacted for whatever reason. And Charlie then says, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this. They are leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause completely. So here he is talking about completely turning his back on the pro-Israel cause because of the way that he's being treated by these Zionist donors. Now, this is a massive piece of evidence. This is a bombshell. This is, it goes to show that everything that Nick Fuentes was saying about Candace Owens and her accusations of Israel potentially killing Charlie Kirk, it goes to show that Fuentes was lying. He was straight up lying. He was talking out of his ass. He had no idea what he was talking about. He just defaulted to the narrative of Kash Patel and the FBI smeared independent journalists who were actually trying to get to the truth, and then went right back to pretending to be anti-establishment, pretending to be anti-Israel while he parrots their narratives and attacks people and calls for people to be jailed who are actually fighting against Israel and their influence in America. But, you know, originally what the Groypers did, what Fuentes and the Groypers did was deny that these text messages were real. They said, well, Candace probably just made these in some kind of fake text message generator. We have no proof that these are real. Candace is desperate. Candace is so desperate for evidence that she's now inventing texts to try and push this narrative that Israel had reason to take out Charlie Kirk. But the Groypers took another L. It turned out that the Groypers were lying again for the umpteenth time in a row, because Adam Kovlet of TPUSA then came out and said that the texts were in fact real. Let me make sure that the sound is on here before we play this video. But Charlie Kirk's friend and coworker and someone who's a higher up in Turning Point USA came out and confirmed that these were real. So not once but twice within the span of 24 hours, the Groypers were proven to be liars on behalf of the establishment and on behalf of Israel. And they were embarrassed for pushing this narrative. They got dunked on twice hard in 24 hours.
Started the show to address.
If this was a UFC fight, Candace Owens and Jackson Hinkle and Hazaldine and me and everybody who have been saying that there is a possibility that Israel killed Charlie Kirk are winning a 10-8 round over the Groypers right now. It's not even close. They're getting demolished.
Some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there. I first want to say the reason I didn't share that screen grab publicly is because it was a private exchange. And
so there you have it. After the Groypers came out and swore up and down that this couldn't be real, that Candace Owens had to be making it up. They got cooked so hard that it makes me laugh. After they spent all this time claiming those texts weren't real, that they were doctored by Candace Owens, someone from TPUSA comes out and says, nah, they're real. I'm the one who took those screenshots, actually. So huge L. But of course, Nick Fuentes is just like a petty, narcissistic, deeply feminine man. So he can't just take the L and admit that he's wrong. He has to continue taking pot shots at Candace Owens. And really, he's doing the same thing that the mainstream media does. Look at this. Yesterday, Candace produced her first shred of evidence in 4 weeks about a conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk. Not true at all. There are lots of pieces of evidence. You're just burying your head in the sand because you're a cuck for Israel. Because you're a pussy. Today, she is claiming that she knows Tyler Robinson wasn't the shooter because Charlie Kirk told her so in a dream. So close, Candace. So close. He thought this was so funny. He thought he cooked here, but he got absolutely destroyed in the replies. And we're going to take a look at that. But notice how this is the exact same strategy that mainstream media uses. It is the exact same strategy that liberal mainstream media outlets like MSNBC use. They deflect away from the actual evidence, the actual substance of the argument, and they try to mock and make a joke out of and character assassinate the person who's actually bringing up that evidence. Right? So Candace Owens presents this evidence, and rather than dealing with the evidence, saying, okay, maybe I was wrong here, maybe there is more evidence to this than what I previously thought, instead of doing that, he doubles down and says, well, Candace is crazy anyways. Why are you going to listen to her? She's crazy anyways. She's spreading misinformation. Kash Patel told me. Bibi Netanyahu told me. Jeffrey Epstein told me. She's crazy. Okay, so I don't even have to respond to the evidence that she brought up that completely disproved everything that I had been saying previously. I don't even have to respond to that. She's crazy. She thinks that Charlie Kirk is visiting her in dreams. So they nitpick or hyper-focus on one part of what Candace was saying to distract and take people's attention away from the substance of what she was saying, from the evidence that she was actually bringing to the forefront. This is exactly what I would expect of MSNBC. Ignore the evidence that Candace brought forward because it makes Israel look bad, so it must be a conspiracy theory. And I know he thought he cooked with this one, but he ended up getting cooked in the comments. Here you can see a bunch of our people ratioing him. Or not ratioing him, but getting a lot of traction. But here you see other people, even right-wingers. Shut up, son. Talk about the Hades spy plane at 203 above the ground twice that day. Prove you have balls, son. Again, there's lots of evidence that there was something fishy going on here. That we should be skeptical of the mainstream narrative about this. One sec. All good. More our people. Nick, you're coming off. This is 6.5 thousand likes. Honestly, Nick, you're coming off as weak as fuck right now. You could have just given her the credit she deserves, admitted that she was right, and left it at that. She brought the receipts. Yet you still find something to bitch about. Of course, because that's who this kid is. This kid doesn't care about the truth. This kid doesn't care about America. This kid doesn't care about fighting Zionism. He's a petty bitch. He's a petty Karen in a man's body, kind of. Right? Kind of a man's body. More like a little twig body. He should be like a hairdresser or something. Gossiping and talking shit about people in town with other women like him. That's Nick Fuentes' true calling. Okay, so of course he's not going to be like, yeah, I was wrong. Let's take a look at the evidence. No, he's a bitch. He's going to be like, I don't like Candace Owens, so I'm going to keep talking shit. And that's your god, Groypers. That's your king, you fat frogs. Nice. They're not buying the narrative. Start calling them low IQ anti-Semites. 3.6 thousand likes. He got the call. He got the call. Why are you Laura Lumering? Charlie Kirk loved Israel. Here's evidence that he didn't. I don't want evidence. Qatar controls our country. This is Nick Fuentes right now. And it's like, you can rail against Israel all you want. You can rail against Zionism and Jewish supremacy all you want. But if you're parroting the narratives of Zionists in practice and calling for anti-Zionists to be arrested in practice, American anti-Zionists to be arrested in practice, then all of your bluster and talk about being anti-Israel and America first is just a bunch of bullshit. You don't even care about the First Amendment here in America. You're calling for Jackson Hinkle and Haz al-Din to be put in jail for words. You're parroting Israel's narratives about one of the most consequential political events of the last decade. You're deflecting blame away from a government that's been trying to influence American politics for the last 7 decades and has deeply influenced American politics. And you built your career railing against that. You build your career railing against Israel, and then when Israel needs you to defend them and to attack their critics, you're always there to act as a tool for the Zionist state. And this is why people are saying that Fuentes got the call. Because he did. No. As North Star Radio was saying before, all the talk about this sort of started to die down today because fucking idiots were talking about Hassan Piker's dog. Instead of talking about Israeli influence in American politics and the Israel lobby and Israeli assassinations of American political figures, motherfuckers were talking about Hassan Piker's dog. Like, could you be any easier to manipulate? Could you be any easier to control? Do you know how much death and suffering there is in the world? Do you know how much is wrong with our world that needs to be fixed? And you're out here raging about Hassan Piker's dog maybe wearing a shock collar and probably not wearing a shock collar based on the evidence that I've been forced to see because it's all over my feed today. Listen, if you are talking about Hassan Piker's dog on my timeline instead of Israeli influence in America or anything important, endless wars, Wall Street's control of America, the banking system and how it traps us all in debt and traps other countries in debt and just exploits us all parasitically while producing nothing. If you're talking about Hassan Piker's dog instead of that, I am coming to your house and I'm going to do at least 13 of the most painful wrestling moves that I know on you. And then I'm going to take your phone and I'm going to make about 5 tweets on your phone that are actually about things that are important. I'm going to give you back your phone And it's your job to continue talking about things that are actually fucking important, not Hassan Piker's dog. And if I see you talking about Hassan Piker's dog again, I'm coming back. This time I'm doing 14 wrestling moves on you. They're going to be even more painful. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, sure, if Hassan Piker is using a shock collar to keep his dog asleep on a little square, it's probably not the best pet ownership practice, okay? That's probably not what he was doing based on the evidence, but like there are human babies being blown up with our tax dollars every single day. Human beings, children who have done nothing wrong, who are entirely innocent. But you're raging over a dog in LA that's well taken care of and well fed, potentially having a shock collar on. You don't. Do you not realize how they manipulate us? Do you not realize how they distract us at this point? It's just insane to me. This is funny. This Richard Storcher, this is exactly it. Hassan's dog, Kaya, is our generation's George Floyd. Like, that's literally how right-wingers are treating this. The establishment right-wingers who love Israel are like, please talk about Hassan Piker's dog. Can't we just go back to hating the left instead of hating Israel and hating Wall Street and actually hating the people who control our country? Can't we just go back to hating Hassan Piker and his audience and woke college students? That's kind of funny. Some of the memes are funny, but like, it's just so stupid to me that there's so much going on in the world and motherfuckers are really talking about Hassan Piker's dog that probably gets manicures every day. I bet none of you know about the leaked discords or Twitter PMs where Nicky Boy was pro-grooming underage. Oh, I didn't know about that, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me. These groypers are freaks. Like, the people in their community are actually freaks. They're like people who spend all day on 4chan, and it rots their brains. Angela Nagel's Kill All Normies is one of my favorite books ever written, and it kind of talks about these subcultures. The left-wing subcultures, like the hyper woke radlib subcultures that permeated on Tumblr, and then compares and contrasts that to the right-wing subcultures that permeated on 4chan. And yeah, they're both equally disgusting and just like being transgressive, just like being edgy for the sake of being edgy. And then they, push that to see how far they can take it, to see how transgressive they can become. Yeah, that's why, you see like ACP Leaks, this group of like hardcore leftists, radlib leftists who try to take down the ACP and claim we're misogynist and all these different slogans. You see them ganging up with the groypers now to attack the ACP. The groypers and ACP Leaks are like this. The radlib Tumblr left is like this with the fascistic 4chan right. And that's because these people are basically the same. They have the same consciousness. They're mostly middle class, terminally online, failed children who get into like degenerate online subcultures as a way to fill their time during the day because they're socially isolated and don't have anything going on in their lives. That's the groypers, and that's the ACP Leaks left. It is sad, but it's also pathetic and disgusting. And that's what these people are. And the more time that they're around, the more scandals like that there will be, because that's the kind of human beings they are. Ryan Dawson is smearing Candace too. He seemed He was going after Nick at first, but then he started going after Candace too. Ryan Dawson is a smart guy and has done some good journalism, but he just has to attack everyone sometimes. It seems like he's like, I just got to be different. He has like no real coherent ideology. He's just kind of like a journalist, so he just kind of takes pot shots at everyone. I feel like doesn't really unify or ally himself with anyone. Maybe he's like too autistic for that. I'm just, that wasn't an insult. I don't know the guy. He's just seems like quite smart and very intelligent. So maybe he's got like autism where he can't help, where he doesn't know like how to be sociable, and he accidentally like burns bridges with everyone and attacks everybody without meaning to, just because he doesn't know how to communicate. I don't know. That's kind of what it seems like to be with that guy, but he's done some good research. His stuff on 9/11 is very good. Lol, and everyone supposedly steals his work. Yeah, he does that on Twitter all the time, dude. He's like, that meme account stole my work. It's like, okay, bro, you're on Twitter. Like, what do you expect? You know how many like random Muslim or Arab accounts take my TikToks and just upload them? There was one the other day that went so viral, and I wasn't tagged in it. And the description wasn't even right. It had some description of me that wasn't even true. But I'm like, whatever, at least my content is getting out there. But when you like repost anything Ryan Dawson came up with, he like has a meltdown. I have to block this person for stealing my work. I guess, yeah, but it's Twitter work, you know. It's if you put something out on Twitter, you got to know that like some Instagram memer is going to screenshot it and put it on their page, and it's not that big of a deal, man. It's not the end of the world. They're not plagiarizing your academia, your academic output. Hello, Eddie. Hello. He really does attack everyone. He does. Ryan Dawson's, I don't think he's a dumbass though. I actually think he's pretty smart. Some of his research in journalism is pretty solid. But yeah, you'll have that. You'll have people who are pretty solid politically and journalistically, but then they have some personal issues that prevent them from unifying with others and organizing with others. I don't know if that's Ryan Dawson to a T. I don't know the guy. More, Nick called for Jackson to be killed in Yemen. Yeah, he did. He calls for American citizens to be murdered by the American government. And let's think about it. How many Zionists has Nick Fuentes called to be arrested or to be targeted with violence? 0. He's never called for a Zionist to be arrested or targeted. But when it comes to anti-Zionists, when it comes to Haas and Hinkle, who are leaders of the only truly anti-Zionist political party in America, who are part of an American political party that's organizing the American workers every day to fight against Zionism, all of a sudden Nick Fuentes wants them to be killed. He wants them to be thrown in prison. He wants them to be punished and surveilled by the state just because they're on the left. And that's the role that he plays in practice. And I mean, even beyond that, his like, it's not the Zionists, it's the Jews. That's what he likes to say. Even that really aids Israel's narrative in a lot of ways. Because what does Israel say? We are representative of the Jewish people. And Orthodox Jews and anti-Zionist Jews say, no, you're not. You don't represent me. I don't support what you're doing. I don't support killing babies. Quit saying that you represent me. Quit saying that you represent all the Jewish people. But what does Nick Fuentes say? No, they do. Israel does represent the Jewish people. Israel is the Jewish state. All you anti-Zionist Jews who don't want anything to do with Israel's genocide and apartheid, I am going to lump you in with Israel. I am going to consider you the same as them. Just because of, the ethnicity and religion that you were born into. Just because your mom's Jewish, I'm going to lump you in with them, even if you hate Israel more than I do. So he parrots their narrative. Again, he falls on the same side as Israel in that position, thinking that they are representatives of the Jewish people. What else does he say? He says that the problem is the Jews. He's anti-Semitic. He's an open anti-Semite. What does Israel say about their critics? All of our critics are just anti-Semites who hate Jewish people. They don't have any real criticisms of us. They just hate Jews. Okay? What does Nick Fuentes do? Exactly that. He gives Israel someone to point at and say, see, we told you that all of our critics are just a bunch of idiots who hate Jewish people because they're Jewish and because they're jealous of Jewish people. All of our critics are just people who are jealous of Jews and want DEI for white people. And Nick Fuentes says, yes, that is what we are. We are just a bunch of dumbass anti-Semites who are jealous of Jewish people. And that's the basis of our opposition to Israel. He gives them a perfect example to use for their propaganda narrative. Versus with people like us, we can explain the history of Zionism and explain how, ruling class, wealthy elites within the Jewish community invented Zionism, this nationalist ideology, and manipulated the Jewish religion, with which Orthodox Jews were always against from the beginning, in order to turn it into an imperialist, nationalistic ideology. But Fuentes doesn't have any of that analysis, none of that, historical materialist, concrete analysis of how Zionism actually emerged. He just says, nope, it's the Jews bad. And Israel says, see, you guys, we told you that all of our critics are just people who are jealous of us because we're Jewish. So everything that he does aids the Zionist Hezbollah. Everything. Thank you, Margot Dominguez, for becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate you, brother. Enjoy the perks that come with that. Is the purple hat Protestant? Is that a Protestant thing? I don't know. Do I have a lazy eye? I don't think so. Maybe. I can't have a lazy eye. I have like better than 20/20 vision. There's no way. Fourth ad, make it stop. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know there were ads on. That's annoying. Let me turn it off. I hate how YouTube does that, man. They just put ads on my shit. I don't even want them to. I don't get why. Okay, no more ads. Are you Protestant? I was raised Protestant. Yeah, my grandpa was a pastor at a Protestant church. Johnny with the $20 from California. No, that's not California. That's Canada. I only know that because I know Johnny. But thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to our friends in the north. Fuentes being controlled op reminds me of how anti-communists say commies are woke, deranged leftists who want to destroy our country. Then leftists are like, yes, we are that. And the anti-communists are like, see? Yeah. That's a perfect analogy. It's the exact same thing. This is something that I've pointed to for a while. I did a TikTok about this once, and it angered a lot of leftists, but I didn't hear many substantive arguments, actually. But I said, what do you hear right-wing commentators point to when they talk about wokeism and liberalism? They say that's Marxism, right? That's cultural Marxism. Right-wingers will use that word all the time, cultural Marxism. And what they're talking about is Marxists who replace class struggle with cultural struggle, who say class struggle, yeah, whatever, that's kind of important. But what's more important is gender-neutral bathrooms. What's more important than making sure that people have health care and enough to eat is making sure that people's preferred pronouns are respected. That's what the right-wingers claim Marxism is. And as Marxist-Leninists, we say, no, what the hell are you talking about? We just want to fight for the working class. We want the working class to be in political power. We have nothing to do with all this bathroom stuff. That's your stuff. That's your weird bourgeois nonsense that we have nothing to do with. These distraction issues like gender neutral bathrooms or whatever. Who can go in what bathroom, fucking whatever has dominated the media for the last 20 years. But if you read a lot of the CIA, Rockefeller Foundation, whoever else funded Marxists throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, these Western Marxists, a lot of what they're doing is replacing class struggle with cultural struggle. You know, they say, yes, class struggle can go on the back burner now. We need to fight for sexual politics. We need to fight for there to be 70 genders before we can fight for working class people to have health care. So those are the people that Jordan Peterson and his ilk point to and say, this is Marxism, right? Marxism transformed from real classical Orthodox Marxism or Marxism-Leninism into cultural Marxism. And that's what the Democrats support today. So the people who are aiding the right wing the most in pushing this narrative are the cultural Marxists, are the woke leftists, who help the right wing make their argument by acting as a parody of what Marxism actually is. Very good analogy, Johnny. Thank you. Hey, Eddie, have you seen the weird coordinated efforts by Groyper clip channels to lead Annika Asparian down the JQ rabbit hole? I have, yeah. She did, she was like doing something like this, like, give me your money. Blah, blah, blah. Give me. Did something like that. And the Groypers were like, she must be talking about Jewish people. We'll get her to hate them. I'm pretty sure she's just against Israel and the Israeli lobby and its influence in America. I doubt she's going to start hating all Jewish people like some kind of racially disturbed freak. Some freak motivated by racial hatred. But yes, I have seen that. Anna Kasparian and Cenk seem to be getting a little bit more based lately, so I hope they continue down that path. Thank you for the $5 from New Zealand. Sweet. I don't know if I've seen many New Zealand donations before. Marco, again with the 5. Thank you, Marco. Double donos. Has anyone looked into Fuentes' funding, fomenting anti-Semitism outside of Israel aids the goal of Zionism? Absolutely. I don't know. There's not much out there. Somebody needs to look into Menect. He's now sponsored by Menect. So maybe Menect is like connected to Larry Ellison in Oracle. I don't know. Cenk greater than Hassan. Facts. I agree. That conversation that Cenk and Hassan had was really funny, where Cenk was telling him to basically back off of the cultural issues and the hyper divisive, social issue stuff in order to focus on like bread and butter economic issues. And Hassan was like, okay, boomer. It's like, no, Cenk is right. He's correct. Hey, Eddie, are you cool? I know you since early Hinkle times. By the way, I'm from Spain. Oh, you're cool. Thank you. Known you since early Hinkle times based. Interesting crossover with Santiago. Thank you. I think Carlos is going on his show soon. So that'll be interesting. Eddie, are you left? Yes, I'm a communist. Marxist-Leninist. What are your thoughts on Marx and Moses Hess's relationship? I've heard some people try to make a typical horseshoe theory argument with this being one of their proving examples. LOL. I mean, Moses Hess was just one of the many people that Marx and Engels sublated. They were like friend. What? And what's that movie? Europa. The Last Battle. That like fascist movie that's like 11 hours long that claims Jewish people sank the Titanic to kill all the powerful non-Jews. No evidence, by the way, no sources. You'll never find a citation in something that a JQer wrote or published. You'll never find evidence. They really, really just say shit. You know how Lucas Gage the other day said that communists believe Irish people run the world? That's because we made memes to mock JQers saying that Irish people run the world. And to this day, that guy still believes it. He believes that we genuinely think Irish people are pulling all of the strings and running the world. It's like, you guys literally get your information from fucking memes. You go on Twitter, you read memes. You don't look for a source. You don't look for evidence. You just go, yes, this is true. Input it into my brain, Elon Musk. This is my new worldview. Irish people run the world. I saw it in a meme. Or communist people must believe it. I saw it in a meme. But anyways, that's they use that that same genius JQ scholarship to say that Moses Hess created Marxism, and because Moses Hess was Jewish, therefore, you know, Marxism was created by the Jews to control the people. But Marx and Engels, you know, heavily criticized Moses Hess. They went beyond Moses Hess. They said, this is what Moses Hess thought. Here's what he got right. Here's what he got wrong. We're going to throw out what he got wrong and take what he got right and build upon it. That's what in Marxism we call a sublation. Taking something and giving it new form by leaving out the bad and taking the good is essentially, that's a super big simplification. I'm using moral terms like good and bad, but essentially that's it. Or in a way, that's it, in a simplistic way. So because Marx and Engels interacted with Moses Hess and criticized Moses Hess and some of his ideas, therefore Moses Hess is the father of Marxism and invented it all and invented it so that Jews could control the world somewhere down the line. Like in insanity that what these people believe. But yeah, Moses Hess wrote some interesting stuff, though. He's worth a read. Right-wingers literally have child brains. They're so impressionable. It's almost hard to believe sometimes. It's hard to believe. Like when I'm watching Nick Fuentes' fans try to attack Candace Owens and defend Nick right now, I'm like, aren't you embarrassed? Isn't this embarrassing for you to be going against all of the evidence and just digging your heels in to defend your daddy, to defend your twink, pathetic, scrawny little daddy, your closeted gay daddy? Your Mexican white nationalist daddy. But then I realized, like, oh, that's how they think. That's how they view the world. They don't collect the evidence and then make a conclusion based on the evidence. They don't make an educated, logical guess based on what we can observe and see in front of us. No, they just see a meme and they go, that's what I believe now. They hear Nick Fuentes say something and they're like, I like that guy. I'm going to listen to whatever he says now from now on. It's that's how they view the world. It's all about aesthetics, you know. It's more about aesthetics than it is about information, which is why we need to be wary of the kind of propaganda and information that we put out. Like, this is kind of what, not to toot my own horn, but I've sort of mastered this on TikTok in a way. Packaging communist left-wing information in a way that will reach normies, in a way that will be effective in translating that information to regular people who aren't glued to the internet, who aren't glued to Twitter, or political Twitter discourse all day long. Those aesthetics are important because, as unfortunate as it is, the truth isn't quite enough. You can't just say the truth and everybody will gobble it up. You have to find a way to actually push that message and articulate that message in a way to where politically uneducated people can internalize it and understand it. All feels over reals, true. Eddie, are you educated? Look how many books I got, bro. Look how many books I got, Bomb. That's the difference between Knicks fans and Haas's fans. Knicks fans are sitting at home eating ice cream and playing video games, while Haas's fans are running up mountains, reading and educating and organizing. Yeah. And organizing labor unions and working in their communities, building relations with their communities. And like, the Groypers could never do something like that. They could never organize something in real life. There's too much infighting. They don't have enough passion. They don't have enough belief in what they actually stand for. They've got no path for making America better, for actually putting America first. The only people who can actually put America first or establish a government that actually prioritizes our own country's people are the communists. That's why communists are the real patriots. You know, what's Nick Fuentes going to do? Complain about black people on Twitter? Complain about Jewish people on Twitter? Like, yeah, that'll fix all of our problems. That'll stop BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard from trapping us all in debt and ripping us off every day and charging us exorbitant rents. Oh, wait, no, they have no plan for that. Complaining about different racial groups on Twitter won't do shit about that. What you need is the 16-point program that the ACP has on our website, where we plan to cancel the debts and redistribute land and reduce rent and get rid of income tax like the DPRK has, and make sure that people have the right to a job with or the right to employment with good pay. Right? These are the things that can actually fix America's problems, economic solutions. What are the Groypers going to do? What's their solution? They think everything stems from race. Race is the basis of all our problems. Okay, what's your solution? We're going to fight a race war? Well, they claim they're against that. They claim they don't want a race war. So what are you going to do then? You're just going to complain about other races on Twitter? And, you know, suddenly Americans won't be trapped in debt anymore? And Americans will have health care and be living, you know, more comfortable lives? No. There's no real solution there. So what are they supposed to organize for? What are they supposed to fight for? They fight for nothing. They just complain about Candace Owens on Twitter because they're petty, gossipy hairdresser types. Except they aren't actually hairdressers because they live in their mom's basement. Their moms are hairdressers who taught them how to gossip and bitch and moan all day. And that's all they'll ever do. Have you guys done a video debunking Holodomor? Capitalist powers created numerous famines in the 19th and 20th century and received zero scrutiny. Yeah, we could do another one. Noah and I have done a stream on the Holodomor before. Noah did one with some of the guys from RTSG. I believe I did a video on it way back. But we could do another one. That would be a good topic, especially now that a lot of people are kind of reassessing the last century and reassessing these narratives that we've been told about World War II, some good, some bad. You know, now would be a good time to talk about the Holodomor and how it's literally Nazi propaganda to invent a genocide that sounded like Holocaust. The Zionists coined the term Holocaust, so the Nazis had to coin the term Holodomor and have their own. I don't actually know if Zionists coined the term Holocaust. I don't know where it came from. I just know that they laundered the memory of the Holocaust and spent tons of money to promote it and or teach it in American schools and museums. And that's why we don't hear about like the communists who were killed by Hitler. You don't hear about the religious leaders who were killed by Hitler. You only hear about the Jewish people who were killed by Hitler because that's what aids the Zionist Israeli narrative. Really, they should be teaching about all the people he massacred because the Nazis did go rampaging and raping across Europe, and the communists were the first that they targeted. And of course, they did target Jewish people as well, but it wasn't exclusively Jewish people like we're often taught. And again, the reason that we're taught that, which is laid out in Norm Finkelstein's Holocaust Industry, is because Zionist money was used to launder the Holocaust memory for the purpose of justifying Israel's existence, continued expansion, apartheid, genocide, blah, blah, blah. Didn't you guys touch on the Holodomor in one of your Ukraine vids? Probably. We talk about it all the time. Like it comes up all the time, obviously, but I even have, one sec, I have a graphic pulled up for the Holodomor. Where is it? Oh, hopefully I didn't delete it. All aboard the Holodomor bus. All aboard. Okay, this is a real bus. For those who don't know the joke here, this is a real bus in Canada, paid for by the Canadian government for the Holodomor National Awareness Tour. And the Canadian government paid for this bus to go around and convince people that the Holodomor actually happened and that Stalin did it, which it did happen. There was a famine. There's just absolutely zero evidence that the famine was intentional, that it was created by Stalin. And all the evidence points to the kulaks, the large, wealthy landlord class, hoarding grain because they didn't want to redistribute their land and give it to the smaller peasants who actually worked the land. So, but because there's no evidence and because so few people buy this Holodomor narrative and because scholars have debunked it, a lot of money and propaganda has to go into convincing people that it actually happened. Otherwise, people wouldn't believe it. So that's what this is. This is where your tax dollars are going, Canadians. Sorry, Johnny, but your taxes are going to fund the Holodomor bus. So the Canadian government can teach people about a historical event that never happened, the way they said it did, at least. It's like, if the Holodomor was real and Stalin really did this, why do you need to pay for a bus to convince people? Why can't you just give them the facts? Okay. And to be fair, this isn't, they really learned here. The Canadian government really learned from the Zionists, because this is what the Zionists did. They paid for all of these museums and school textbooks and all these different forms of education about the Holocaust in order to implant its memory in the Western consciousness, and then use that to promote Israel, to tie it to Israel. Look what you Westerners did to the Jewish people. You need to support Israel. Otherwise, because you owe such a great debt to the Jewish people. That's how they laundered the memory of the Holocaust. And today, Nazis and Ukraine supporters and liberals are trying to launder the memory of the Holodomor. The only thing is, the Holocaust actually happened, and it was actually intentional by Hitler. Whereas the Holodomor was just a famine caused by weather conditions and rich people hoarding grain. Ukraine's Nazis are channeling Zionists. Great, SMH. Yeah. I mean, just... I'm not going to make that joke. Never mind. I was going to make the same joke that Chris Halali made on the last Metal Gear Red podcast about Zelensky. But I'll save it for another time. Stalin and Mao killed everyone by not inventing immortality. They really should have. They really should have invented like a time machine or something. I was just going to say that Zelensky is giving Ukraine Zionist propaganda tips. Because Zelensky's a Zionist. A Zionist, that's the only reason. Just a joke. Just a joke. The fact that Groyper shared pics of Adolf hugging that Ukrainian girl, Irina, that got killed to comfort her. Have they seen any of Adolf's views on Slavic people? It makes me sick as a Slav to see it. Yeah, I would feel the same. Yeah, my girlfriend is Slavic, actually, and I had the same thought. I was like, that's so offensive to Slavic people to put Hitler next to a Slavic person and be like, yes, he's comforting her now. The white race is united in heaven. He hated Slavs. He thought they were subhuman animals who deserved to be enslaved, and he said that explicitly. He would have thought that Irina girl was an animal who deserved to be a slave for the rest of her life, if not killed. But yeah, he's comforting her in heaven. What a good guy he is. Fucking degenerate scum Hitler. And I mean, that just goes back to what we've been saying the entire stream. Like, these people literally get their ideology from memes, bro. I don't get it. I don't get how you can be that empty-headed or be that uncurious or have no desire to learn more. Like, you start questioning the establishment and then you immediately base all of your political opinions on the memes that the establishment social media platforms feed you in your profile. It is completely sick. They're just like, oh, think about how stupid this is. Think about how ape Joe Rogan brained this is. This is worse than Joe Rogan brain. Joe Rogan is a genius compared to these people. They see two people with white skin, with skin that doesn't have a lot of melanin, Hitler and this Ukrainian girl, and they go, yeah, both white. Both have white skin. Both skin white. Yay! Skin white. Yay! Now, in reality, white-skinned Hitler wanted to murder and enslave the white-skinned Slavish girl. He wanted to make all of her people slaves for the German Empire. That's the reality. That's the substance. That's what Hitler believed concretely. But because on the surface level, they both have white skin, it's yeah, I like Hitler. I do that girl. Therefore, that girl and Hitler best friends. Yay, white skin. Yay, skin color. Your obsession with skin colors made you retarded. You don't know how anything works because you're just obsessed with the surface level. It's insane, bro. It's insane. If you're on the right, are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed of the people that you hang out with and the kind of stuff you guys say? You'll question the ruling class on everything except for what they say about communism. Instead of learning about communism and actually learning how to fight the ruling class, you'll just read like 7 memes from a Groyper Facebook account, or a Groyper Discord, and decide that you know everything about the world. You don't need to keep learning. You know everything. Yeah. It's just root for all the people with white skin and root against the people with less white skin. That'll lead to a really harmonious society. That's the kind of political struggle we need. Just race war. Fucking retards. No shame. They're so stupid. Why are the Groypers anything but white? That's the other thing. They're all like Indian dudes. What's the deal with that? I'm whiter than every single Groyper. I'm whiter than Nick Fuentes. What's a more white American name? Eddie Smith or Nick Fuentes? I guess Eddie's kind of a black name, but still. And you see a picture of these guys. They all have anime profile pictures, of course, because they're freaks. I kind of like some animes, but these people are freaks. They all have friggin' anime profile pictures and they're all anonymous, but when they have photos leaked of them at events, they're all like Indian or something. And I don't even have a problem with that, obviously. Right? Americans can be from all different religions and ethnic backgrounds, but you're the ones claiming to be pro-white. You're the ones claiming to be white nationalist. But then I'm whiter than all of you. Like, what's going on? I'm more pale than every single Groyper. Don't advocate for me. I'm offended by that. Don't claim to advocate for me, right? Because I'm white. You don't advocate for me. You guys are a bunch of pansies who live on Reddit and 4chan all day and play World of Warcraft. Don't lump me in with you because of my skin color, you freaks. Eddie is probably one of the most American communists that you can find. Probably. Hey, I'm an anime fan. I like some anime. But I just don't like people who have an anime profile picture and then they're anonymous. And then they talk the most shit like they're some tough guy. And you just know. You just know they're the most dysgenic Nick Fuentes looking loser in the world when they got that anime profile picture. Clayton Bigsby's yeah, they're all blind. None of them actually know their own race. They're all brown KKK members. That's the Groypers. It's all a bunch of Clayton Bigsby's. Oh, that's funny. Even Gypsy Crusader is not white. It's weird. It's like none of them are. What even is white? It's so weird that, what does skin like mine actually stem from? It stems from the fact that my ancestors were in Ireland and Germany, which are more cloudy than like Africa and Latin America. So our skin over time developed less melanin. It's like, yeah, that's the basis for a political movement. Forget about economics. Forget about meeting, people's basic needs. Forget about the economy, right? We just need to get all the people who live in cloudy areas so their skin is white, and all the people who live in more sunny areas so their skin is brown or black, and we just need to fucking fight. We just need to kill the shit out of each other. That'll do it. If we hate each other hard enough, you know, we'll all have healthcare at the end of the day. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. How you could believe this shit. We're all skin, flesh, and bones. Exactly, man. Exactly. If you're racist, all it takes is hanging out with some people of a different race. Whatever race you're racist towards, all you got to do is hang out with them for a while and you won't be. I'm not saying you won't that there won't be cultural differences between like black Americans and white Americans, right? You'll notice that there are some cultural differences, but they're very human differences. They're very subtle differences, and at the end of the day, you realize everybody's just a human being. We're all just sacks of meat, and we should unite together and fight against the evil sacks of meat on Wall Street who are actually exploiting us. Brilliant politics, yes. It's a victim mindset. That's the other thing. It is. Because all these groypers are like professional managerial class, you know, middle class, whatever, young people who are being left behind by the economy, by this neoliberal capitalist economy, and they're resentful about it. They want to climb the corporate ladder and they can't. That's Nick Fuentes' whole career. He's resentful that he wasn't welcomed into the Republican establishment. And now he's parroting all these pro-Israel narratives because he feels like his chance is here. His chance has arrived to be accepted by Laura Loomer and, you know, I was going to say Charlie Kirk. Obviously, he's gone now. But that kind of mainstream pundit, the Matt Walshes of the world, he feels like they're now embracing him. So he needs to tone down his rhetoric and stop going after Israel so hard and change what he believes based on what's best for his career, like a pussy. So that's his whole thing, is resentment. I'm a victim. Poor me. Ooh. The Republican establishment didn't give me a bunch of free money to say what I want. And that's how all the groypers view Jewish people. Oh, there's so many Jews in power. I want to be in power. Why isn't there DEI for white people? Why are Jewish people getting promotions when I can't get one? I blame them. It's just like career resentment in a lot of ways. Can we give Jesus Motorcycle props for the WWE series? Absolutely. I did a couple myself, actually, because Jesus gave me an invite code to use, what's it called, Sora. So I did a couple myself, excuse me. Hopefully the sound is on here.
Owns the revolution, cigar and all. Che Guevara hooks him up. Oh, he's going for it. Lifts him up. Revolution driver. 1, 2, 3. He got him. Che Guevara.
You see this sweat? You see this blood? This is the cost of liberation. I'm here to take out any capitalist, any enemy of the people, anytime. Who's next?
These are so fun to make. You always have like 4 boomers in the comments complaining about the fact that you're using AI, and everyone else just laughs.
Hitler trying to pressure forward now. Stalin keeping that lead hand busy.
Nice check on the low kick.
Oh, fake to the body. Head
Massive
kick.
shot from Stalin.
Hitler is out cold.
Okay, those aren't as good. We'll play Jesus's now. Oh, I'm on the ACP Instagram account. Better not like anything or do anything bad.
About to pick up King. Here comes the Soviet Slayer, the Red Reaper, the Man of Steel himself.
Just look at him, JR. All fight, no fear.
You talk a big game, but I can see that little mustache quivering.
Oh, he just nationalized his jaw.
The failed painter's out cold.
About to pick up King. Here comes the Soviet Slayer.
It's so funny. Oh, this one was good too.
Hear that, brother? It's the sound of the overworked and underpaid. You can't buy victory, you can't buy heart, and you sure as hell can't buy the means of destruction I'm bringing to your candy ass.
Oh, what a Oh, here comes Mr. Havana Heat himself.
Look at that ride bounce. He's got the whole arena smoking.
What's he got to say to the Gipper tonight?
Reagan doesn't look happy about it, I'll tell you that much.
Hey, Chico, I thought the Bay of Pigs was over. What this pork chop doing in my ring? Oh, no, the disrespect!
Reagan ain't gonna like that one!
Look at his face, he is stunned!
Oh, here comes Mr. Havana Heat himself.
That's so good. Oh, I hope he keeps those up. Those are so funny. The only problem is Sora is like $200 a month right now if you want to take the watermark off and get unlimited videos. That is crazy. China's releasing these AI softwares for free left and right. And American companies are trying to charge us $200 a month. So now you know why everybody's got the watermark on those videos, which are very popular right now. Everybody's sharing these Sora AI videos. And the reason everybody's got the watermark is because it's $200 to get rid of it. So socialism can't come soon enough, folks. We need to liberate this technology and make it available for everyone. Big video about to come out on ACP Pennsylvania's X account. Stay tuned. Hell yeah, I'm so psyched for that. Let me know when it comes out, Joey. I'll be sure to retweet it with my account and to make sure that the ACP main account retweets it too. We're trying to make sure that all the work you guys are doing is getting retweeted by main so that everybody can see it in one centralized location. So I'm super pumped to see that. Keep it coming with the chapter work videos. Those are the best. Showing the people exactly what we're doing on the ground, all the hard work people like you are putting in. So everybody follow ACP Pennsylvania. Get hype for that video. And when it comes out, share the crap out of it. Appreciate you. We can liberate nature and technology itself. Exactly. Sorry for yelling, but that is that's Marxism to a T. Liberate the development of technology. Remove the fetters on the development of technology, and the fetters on human production being more harmonious with nature too. That might sound a little bit hippie, okay? I'm not gonna go full eco warrior on you guys, but truly, there are under socialism, the field of ecology can be applied to production, and we can plan for environmental factors and really liberate nature from the negative effects that human production and capitalist production is having on it, which sometimes are overstated by eco warriors. But all right, one more of these. This one got the least likes, but this one made me laugh the hardest. This one was real funny. It's Tsar Nicholas, the Russian monarch, as a vlogger.
Hey, Pores. It's me, Tsar Nicholas, God's anointed one. Welcome to a
He's Tom Segura. Hey, Pores. Hey, losers and Pores.
little day in the life of your humble servant of Christ. Just stepping out of the Winter Palace to greet the Empire.
Kneel before the Tsar!
Oh, see, everyone's so reverent.
Big crowd energy outside today. Everybody's so passionate. Guards had to calm them down a little. The streets are a bit messy now. Bloody Sunday, more like Bloody Mary's. Back to brunch.
Big day, just bought a new yacht. Yeah, she's called the Standard. Costs more than 100 villages, but the Lord provides. Am I right?
Please help us, Tsar Nicholas. We have no bread.
Ew, gross.
Oh, look at that glaze. It's practically a jewel. Divine. Oh,
So the peasants are starving again.
Give them more gruel.
Down the day with a little charity collab. Feeding the peasants my exclusive royal gruel. Same oats as the horses get, but blessed by me personally. There you go, darling. Mwah. Like and subscribe.
Hey, Pores. It's me.
Like and subscribe. It's so funny. You guys know that the comedian Tom Segura actually called his fans pores, right? Losers and pores. And he basically, after that, his career has been really struggling because his fans turned on him over it. So this is, if Tsar Nicholas had a cell phone at the time, I bet you he actually would have been saying stuff like that. It's weird. Like, I always thought people who were that pompous, like rich people who were that elitist and pompous, didn't exist. I was like, nobody would be that selfish, that much of an asshole to like call their fans losers and pores, or to think that they're that special and enlightened and better than everyone else because they're rich. And then you meet some rich people, or you you see them on camera acting how they actually act in their day-to-day lives when they're not putting on a performance, right? If they get caught candidly or something, you're like, wow, no, these people are actually like that. They actually think they're better than us. These people like Peter Thiel actually think they're super geniuses, like they're real-life Tony Starks, when they're actually just parasitically extracting wealth from people who are actually smart, like engineers and even workers on the shop floor. I'll pull this up. And Tom Segura, this comedian, also went on a huge rant against an airline employee who was just doing her job and asked him to check his bag because he thinks he's better than everybody else, and because he's famous, he shouldn't have to deal with the rules of the airport. And this was one time in capitalist society, because all of his money comes from his fans who pay for his comedy, where karma actually caught up to him and all his fans basically turned on him.
Tom Segura had a running joke in his podcast about Garth Brooks. Basically, the joke was Garth Brooks is so out of touch that something more nefarious must be going on here. Years after the inception of this joke, Tom has become the very thing he used to make fun of. Completely out of touch. Tom was a liked, relatable, and most importantly, funny guy. A few years later, he's seen as the complete opposite of that. His comedic talents now include making fun of poor people, unironically hating said poor people, hating his fans, having meltdowns directed at lower-class workers on Twitter, and putting out a comedy special that has a whopping 2.9 out of 10.
Did you see Zoran talk down to Cuba and Venezuela, AOC 2.0 or Bernie 3.0, if you will? Yeah, exactly. I made a tweet about it. My tweet did pretty well. As far as like a leftist discourse tweet goes, it got like almost 2,000 likes. It's what we expect from democratic socialists. They don't want to transform the system. They don't want to get rid of imperialism. They just want to redistribute the wealth of imperialism. They want to beg the ruling class for some scraps like healthcare rather than taking down the ruling class. So it doesn't surprise me at all, but it is still kind of like, you live in the United States of America that's holding Cuba and Venezuela under economic embargoes, starving their people, strangling them at every turn. Meanwhile, they've led actual working class revolutions that have expanded healthcare access, expanded education, decreased malnutrition, given their people pensions, right? Taking care of their working people in all these different ways. And yet Zoran has the arrogance, the fucking arrogance, to sit in the United States empire that's strangling these other countries and condemn them as the dictatorships. Condemn these working class revolutions as dictators while he sits in the biggest empire on earth, begging the ruling class for a few scraps like healthcare, which it's not surprising because that's what social democrats or democratic socialists always do. But still, when you see it, it's quite ridiculous. Like, bro, shut the hell up. You're living in the empire that's strangling Venezuelans, and you want to lecture them about a free press while you're getting dogpiled by our press for not jerking off Israel, for not saying that you'll go visit Israel on your first day in office. Who's the real propaganda, or who's got the real propaganda media? It's us, dumbass. So yeah, fuck Zoran, but who's surprised?
On IMDb. His downfall has been insane, and his fan base has certainly noticed, with comments on basically every podcast he does referencing his hatred of poor people or just making fun of him. And this is from a guy that, out of the Joe Rogan sphere, had arguably the most success and talent out of anybody. It's weird to see a guy who got to the place where he is because of his humor and a Joe Rogan boost, not just reject the audience he grew, but despise them. Now he's at a point where seemingly nobody likes Tom as a guy. The people who work for him are leaving, there's a huge group of ex-fans who despise him, and even his fellow comedians don't seem to want anything to do with him. He was given the Rogan ticket and he failed. Well, that's only kind of half true. You see, Tom started comedy back in the early 2000s. He actually gained some pretty decent notoriety over the years. However, what really pulled him into the spotlight were his appearances on what would become the biggest podcast of all time, Joe Rogan. Tom was an OG guest on Joe Rogan, but to say Joe made Tom isn't entirely true, as Tom already had a few comedic feathers in his cap. There's a good chance Tom would have been able to make a career out of comedy due to his talent alone.
All right, enough of this. You get it. He was boosted by Joe Rogan.
Every comedian needs a podcast, or else they aren't a real comedian. But back in the day, it was kind of a novelty to have a podcast. So with this, like the Great Outdoor Comedy Festival in Spokane, Washington, and I can to Scotland's new hate crime law. Ground News will let you see exactly how many articles are covering the story. They're also fully.
So here's the thing. I fucking hate Trump.
So guys, if you go to the link in the description or go to ground.news, start at less than $1 a month. a celebrity is to the average person, the less likable they tend to be. The more down-to-earth celebrities are always more beloved. But most of the time, the ones who aren't get away with it, at least for a while, because they don't have to interact with a public audience, apart from rehearsed talk shows that make me want to vomit. Eventually, if they do get exposed as bad people, it's because they're so out of touch with how regular humans interact. Because they can stay inside their elite bubble and never interact with us poors, as Tom might.
This is what I didn't understand. I didn't know how this worked when I was a silly young poor, because I thought everybody grew up with as much money as me. I didn't realize people were actually in this elitist bubble where they think that they're better than others because of their amount of wealth.
Put it. See, this might work when you're James Corden or Ellen DeGeneres, but it doesn't exactly work when you're a podcasting comedian because there's a much more direct relationship to your audience. For example, everyone knows Joe Rogan loves DMT and elk hunting because he talks a lot for his job. People don't even watch him know that. But despite Rogan being worth more than $250 million, he somehow manages to stay relatable to the average person, which is why he's so successful.
Not anymore.
Even if he can be a little out of touch sometimes, he understands what it's like to not have millions in the bank most of the time. See, when you're rich and you stop listening.
Gosh, let's get to the part where he friggin' says the thing about the poors, please. Please.
People who criticize him poors, but those are just jokes, right? It's satire. Now take all that information about the poors and everything like that and watch this clip. Tell me that this is satire.
I'm struggling with rent this month. Figure it the fuck out, okay? Like, don't make my life be a problem for your life. Just know that it's your mindset and you're thinking like a loser, but you don't have to. You don't. You can change the way you think, but you have to accept the way you're thinking right now is not going to get you anywhere. You're being bitter, you're being petty, you're insecure, you're not confident.
I'm not sure if he's trying to be.
So he told his fans, if you're struggling with rent this month, I don't care. Figure it the fuck out. Crazy thing to say. Crazy thing to say in our current economy where people are working full time and paying about 50% of their paychecks to their landlord every month for rent. Where rent is just astronomical. And it's not that these people are on welfare and just, you know, sitting on their butts and not doing anything. These are people who work full-time who can't afford rent. Not only do they work full-time, they work much, 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 much harder than Tom Segura has ever worked in his life. Much harder. It's much harder to be a nurse or a construction worker than it is to be a podcaster. And I say that as someone who makes most of my money, you know, yapping on the internet. I've worked concrete before. It's much, much harder than what I do now. I promise you, Tom. Those people who can't afford their rent, it's not their mindset, it's their wage. It's the cost of rent, right? And what's really ironic about this, guess what his dad is? His dad was some banker. His dad was some corporate investor who funded his comedy career until he finally blew up in his mid-30s. So Buddy was propped up by his wealthy investor or insurance company connected. I can't remember exactly what his dad did, but he was some wealthy capitalist finance guy, propped up his comedy career for his entire life. And then he wants to lecture working class people, construction workers and waitresses and whatever else about how their mindset is why they can't pay rent. It's their mindset. No, buddy, it's because we didn't have a rich dad like you. You lazy fucking sack of shit. You arrogant, greedy asshole who everybody hates now, who lost your own audience. But anyways, I don't know how I got on that topic. I used to be a fan of that guy, so it was wild to see him just become like a parody of himself. That's what happens when too much of daddy's money. His parents failed him. It's their fault. They raised an entitled little brat by funding his comedy career into his 30s. I work 50 plus hours a week and I'm still poor as hell. My wife works another 40. Yeah, like I don't even know how you would not be. Everything costs so much, dude. Everything costs so much. Rent is crazy. I live in like a place where rent is actually very low compared to the rest of the country. And still, like I make okay money between wrestling, coaching, TikTok, YouTube, X, you know, all the different things that I do. But it seems like no matter how much I make, I still can't like get ahead. And you know, it's not just Ere, it's not just me. This is how everyone feels across the country right now. You know, and I live in a job actually where like the harder I work, the more videos I put out, the more money I will make. But most people, it's not like that. You know, you just got to put in more hours. No matter how hard you work and how hard you try, you're still going to get paid the same amount. So it's like, what do you mean it's my mindset? If I go into McDonald's with a different mindset tomorrow, I'm still going to make the same amount of money. And it's still not going to be enough to pay my rent. So what the hell are you talking about? It's my mindset. Am I supposed to become a comedian? I don't have time. My dad's not funding my career like he did yours, Tom. It's so insane. But I mean, if you've never had to live like that, if you've never had to work a job at McDonald's, if you've never had to put the fries in the bag in order to pay your rent at the end of the month, you don't know how hard it is. If daddy's money has always propped you up so you can go dick off with Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer and get hammered all the time and pretend like you're some kind of fitness influencer once you get on Ozempic, which is another thing about Tom Segura. He got fit, he lost all that fat, and then he started talking about, you know, determination and health and fitness and how important it is. And then his co-host, Bert Kreischer, leaked that he was on fucking Ozempic. It's like you're lecturing everybody about mental toughness when you can't even get in shape, when you have no real job and all the money in the world without Ozempic, without chemical help. Now you want to be a fitness influencer and lecture me about being fit? Me who's managed to stay fit my entire life while working a real job? Till the last couple of years when I've been able to do the social media stuff. Can someone catch me up, join late? We're just ranting about Tom Segura, this comedian who made a bunch of money and became super out of touch with his working class fans and then lost all of his fans. Actually, one of my most popular YouTube videos ever is talking about Tom Segura. Let's see if I can find it. This is one of my most popular YouTube shorts.
Tom Segura had a running joke.
That's not what I wanted to do. I guess it doesn't have as many views as I thought. I thought it had more.
You're in control of your own situation and your own feelings. So don't put it on me that you feel bad, that I have something that, oh, but I'm struggling with rent this month. Figure it the out, okay? Like, don't make my life be a problem for your life.
Dude, shut the fuck up. You're a comedian, dude. All that money you have comes from working people in your audience. People are taking the very limited amount of money that they make at their job where they do something productive for society, and they're paying it to you for jokes, for entertainment. And without them, you don't have anything. Anything. All of your wealth comes from those people who are struggling to pay rent. It's not just that they're lazy. Like I said, they're doing something productive for society. They just don't get paid as much as you for what they do. And this is coming from a longtime fan of Tom Segura. He just came off as such an a-hole in this clip. I am no longer a fan in any way, shape, or form. His show is still kind of funny. The one that he has with his wife, who's from a former Soviet country, by the way. But he's a rotten egg. He's a bad guy. He is an entitled, pompous, rich kid who's been a rich kid his entire life, and it shows. He's the anti-Noah Krachevik. Everything that Noah stands for and is, Tom Segura is the opposite. Where Noah is tough and humble and hardworking, Tom Segura is arrogant yet lazy. I bet that piece of shit has never had to take out a loan just to turn their phone lines on for their family back on. Definitely not. Daddy would have paid for it. Dad, I didn't make enough money as a comedian this month. I need you to pay for the phone bill, Daddy. Must be nice, right? I wish I could do that, but guess what? My parents are struggling too. My parents are working 80 hours a freaking week so they can hopefully retire one day. They don't have the money to fund my career like Tom Segura's dad, who was also a big, fat, lazy bum who made his money because he owned, it was like an insurance company or something. Let's see. Tom Segura Sr. He was the vice president at Merrill Lynch. That's how high up Tom Segura's dad is. So this guy wants to lecture you about how you need to work harder so you can pay your rent And if you can't pay your rent, it means you're a lazy bum, unlike him. And his dad was the vice president at Merrill Lynch, who funded his comedy career into his 30s before he ever blew up. He was in his 30s getting funded by daddy. And he wants to lecture you because you can't pay your rent. Bro, you are the biggest trust fund baby of all time. You are in no position to lecture other people about anything. You have no real life experience. If your dad is the vice president of Merrill Lynch and funds your career. But that, these people live in a bubble, an elitist bubble. Their friends are rich. Their friends have rich parents. Their friends think that poor people are just lazy and it's their mindset. And they think that everybody else thinks that way too. And then they get a harsh dose of reality every once in a while when they slip up and tell people what they actually believe. And Tom has had to backpedal from that hard. By the way, Eddie, Kyle Pettis had a special gift heading you and Haas's way from ACP, Pennsylvania. Oh, sweet. Let's go. Thank you ahead of time. I can't wait to see what it is. I can't wait to come visit sometime, too. I've actually never been to Pennsylvania, amazingly. I've been in the Midwest Rust Belt area my whole life, and I've never been to Pennsylvania. It's one of the only places in the country I haven't been. So hopefully I'll be out there myself soon. But thank you very much for that. I appreciate you. And thanks for the 5. Chima, we as restaurant workers give almost our entire salary to landlords and banks, but people love to believe we're just dumb and lazy. Thank you, Chima. Yeah. Well, Chima, why don't you just start a career as a famous comedian? Okay. Why don't you just have a dad who's the vice president of Merrill Lynch give you all sorts of money so then you can use that money to pay your rent? Haven't you thought of that? See, it's your mindset, Chima. It's your mindset. If you would change your mindset, the money that you get paid for being a waiter or waitress would triple overnight if you changed your mindset. And then your father would become the vice president of Merrill Lynch and he would fund your shitty comedy career. See, it's all a mindset. You just have to think about things the right way and money appears. Just kidding, of course. All of that was sarcasm. Thank you, Chima. Yes, it's total bullshit. All your money is going to interest, to rent, to people who make tons of money off of our backs while producing nothing for society, completely parasitically. Tom Segura's wife is a Poland type or Belarus type from former Soviet Republic. Yeah, and she there's this really funny clip. I made a TikTok about it, but it got 200 views. Nobody saw it. I thought it was going to be good, but she said in a video, she's like, there are a lot of people from Poland or Belarus or wherever she's from who miss communism. I think it's Romania, actually. She might be Romanian. She's like, there's actually a lot of people who miss communism. And they say that their life was easier and they had all of their needs met. She's like, isn't that crazy? No, it's not crazy. Your country was thrown into poverty and chaos and drug and sex trafficking and all this horrific stuff after communism fell. I'm not surprised people feel that way. Most people in former Soviet republics feel that way. All right, folks. I'm hitting a wall here. I'm pretty exhausted. This was a good stream. I'm glad to be back on talking with you all. Sorry it took me 2 weeks. I was busy doing stuff with the ACP the last couple weeks, but we're back now. Expect regular streams on Wednesdays, and hopefully more. Hopefully I'll be back this weekend too, if possible. And then in November, my schedule will change and we'll probably switch to weekend streams. But for now, I'll try to get one to you guys every Wednesday. But I appreciate you for hanging out. Patreon.com/MidwesternMarx is the best way to fund us and everything that we do here. We will never, ever, ever take a dime of corporate money. All of our support comes from you, the people, and we appreciate you so much for that. Thank you for all the super chats, all of the Patreon supporters, all of the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, everything you guys do to help boost us and prevent us from being suppressed in this corporate controlled algorithm. So thank you all very much. Nick Fuentes got the call. Don't forget it.
Stand up, victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your mind. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no right. Let grace ignorance the end, for respect makes the empires fall. Freedom is me, privilege stands, and less enjoy life. What I want and all. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The international law unites the world in song. So comrades, for this is the time and place. The international unites the human race. There's no one built to divide us. Walls of hatred, no walls of stone. Come greet the dawn and stand beat us. We'll live together, we'll die alone. In our world, poisoned by exploitation, those who have shaken, now they must give. And then the vanity of nations, but one earth on which to live. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The international unites the world in song. So comrades, for this is the time and day. The international unites the race. And so begins the fight in the streets and in the field. We stand for the power forever. We defy their guns and cheat. When we fight their for though they overthrow sessions, change will not come from above. So come brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. The international unites the world in song. So come